Good evening. This is Orson Welles. There are clearly a number of ways in which a Christmas carol could be introduced.
Before I tell you about the Christmas carol, let me read to you what Charles Dickens himself wrote about this story. I have endeavored in this ghostly little story to raise the ghost of an idea which shall not put my readers out of humor with themselves, with each other, with the season, or with me. May it haunt their houses pleasantly. Charles Dickens.
Marley was dead! To begin with, there is no doubt whatever about that. The register of his burial was signed by the clergyman, the clerk, the undertaker, and the chief mourner. Scrooge signed it, and Scrooge's name was good upon anything he chose to put his hand to. Old Marley was as dead as a doornail. Mind, I don't mean to say that I know of my own knowledge what there is particularly dead about a doornail. I should have been inclined myself to regard a coffin nail as the deadest piece of ironmongery in the trade. You will permit me, therefore, to repeat emphatically that Marley was dead. This must be distinctly understood, or nothing wonderful can come from the story I'm going to relate. Scrooge never painted out old Marley's name. There it stood, years afterwards, above the warehouse door. Scrooge and Marley. The firm was known as Scrooge and Marley. Sometimes people new to the business called Scrooge Scrooge, and sometimes Marley. But he answered to both names. It was all the same to him. Oh, but he was a tight-fisted hand at the grindstone, Scrooge. A squeezing, wrenching, grasping, scraping, clutching, covetous old sinner. Hard and sharp as flint, from which no steel had ever struck out generous fire, secret and self-contained, and solitary as an oyster. The cold within him froze his old features, nipped his pointed nose, shriveled his cheek, stiffened his gait, made his eyes red, his thin lips blue.
Bah! Humbug!
Nobody ever stopped him in the street to say with gladsome looks, "My dear Scrooge, how are you? When will you come to see me?" No beggars implored him to bestow a trifle. No children asked him what it was o'clock. No man or woman ever once in all his life inquired the way to such and such a place. Of Scrooge. But what did Scrooge care? It was the very thing he liked, to edge his way along the crowded paths of life, warning all human sympathy to keep its distance. Once upon a time, of all the good days of the year, on Christmas Eve, Old Scrooge sat busy in his counting house. It was cold, bleak, biting weather. The city clocks had only just gone 3, but it was quite dark already. The door of Scrooge's counting house was open, that he might keep his eye upon his clerk, who, in a dismal cell beyond, a sort of tank, was copying letters. Scrooge had a very small fire, but the clerk's fire was so very much smaller that it looked like one coal. Wherefore the clerk put on his white comforter and tried to warm himself at the candle, at which effort, not being a man of strong imagination, he failed.
Fire, damnation. Don't they know that I'm trying to run a business here?
Uncle Ebenezer, I cannot tell you what a joy it is to see your happy, smiling face. A Merry Christmas, Uncle Ebenezer. God save you.
God save me from Christmas. It's another humbug.
Oh, Merry Christmas, Uncle Scrooge. God save you.
Merry Christmas. Bah. Humbug.
Merry Christmas, Uncle. I said, Merry Christmas, Uncle.
Humbug.
Merry Christmas.
Keep Christmas in your own way and leave me to keep it in mine.
A Merry Christmas, Uncle. God save you.
Humbug.
A Merry Christmas, Uncle. A Merry Christmas, Bob. Merry Christmas, Mr. Fred. God save you, Uncle.
Humbug.
Merry Christmas, Uncle. God save you.
Christmas. Humbug.
What's so merry about it? I'll tell you what Christmas is. It's just another work day, and any jackanapes who thinks else should be boiled in his own pudding.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Uncle.
Christmas. Humbug.
Merry Christmas, Uncle. God save you.
Humbug.
Merry Christmas, Uncle. God save you.
Ah, humbug.
Merry Christmas, Uncle. God save you. Ah, humbug.
A Merry Christmas to you, Uncle. God save you.
Humbug.
A Merry Christmas, Uncle.
Humbug.
A Merry Christmas to you, Uncle. And God save you.
Ah, humbug.
Mr. Humbug, you can't mean that, I'm sure.
I do mean it, sir.
Humbug I said, and humbug I mean. Merry Christmas. What right have you to be merry? You're poor enough.
What right have you to be merry? You're poor enough.
What right have you got to be merry? You're poor enough.
What right have you to be merry? What reason have you? You're poor enough.
You're poor enough.
You're poor enough.
You're poor enough.
You're poor.
Well, what right have you to be miserable, then? You're rich. Merry Christmas.
Damn you, Merry Christmas. It's Christmas time to you, but a time for paying bills without money.
Without money.
Without money.
Enough money.
Money.
Without money.
But a time for buying things for which you have no need, no money.
Time for finding yourself a year older and not a penny richer.
A time for finding yourself a year older, not an hour richer.
Richer. Richer.
Richer.
A richer.
Not an hour richer. A time for balancing your books and finding every item dead against you.
If I had my way.
If I could work my will.
If I could work my will, nephew.
If I could work my will.
If I could work my will,
If I could work my will,
I had my way, sir. Every fool of
Idiot too.
every idiot.
Every idiot.
every idiot.
Idiot too.
The idiot that goes about with Merry Christmas on his lips should be boiled with his own pudding and buried with a stake of holly through his heart.
Uncle! Nephew, you keep Christmas your way. Let me keep it in mind.
Keep it in mind.
Nephew, you keep Christmas in your own way, and let me keep it in mine.
Keep it, but you don't keep it. Let me leave it alone, then. Much good it may do you. Much good it has done you.
Much good is it done you? Much good will it ever do you?
Much good has ever done you.
Much good it does you. Much good it'll ever do you.
There are a great many things from which I might have derived good, from which I have not profited, I dare say. Christmas among the rest. But I've always thought of Christmas time when it comes round as a good time.
Christmas is a good time.
A good time.
Kind, forgiving, pleasant.
Kind. Forgiving. Charitable. Pleasant.
Kindly, forgiving, charitable.
Loving. honest, and charitable.
Kind, forgiving, charitable, pleasant. Kind, charitable, forgiving, pleasant.
Kind, charitable.
Charitable, Dad.
The only time when men open their shut-up hearts.
Open their shut-up hearts.
Open their shut-up.
Open their shut-up hearts.
Open their hearts freely.
A time when men and women sing by one consent to open their shut-up hearts freely to their fellow creatures.
And to think of people below them as if they really were fellow passengers to the grave, and not another race of creature bound on other journeys.
And so Uncle Bert has never
put a scrap of gold or silver in my pockets. I believe that it has done me good and will do me good, and I say God bless it.
And I say, God bless it.
God bless it!
God bless it. God bless it.
God bless it.
God bless it.
God bless it.
God bless it.
God bless Christmas. Hurrah!
Get a go. Get a go.
Sir, Merry Christmas.
Let me hear another sound out of you, Cratchit, and you'll keep Christmas by losing your situation.
Losing your situation. Losing.
Let me hear another sound out of you, and you'll keep Christmas by losing your situation.
Another word from you, Cratchit, and you will celebrate Christmas by losing your position.
Yes, sir. Sorry, Mr. Scrooge.
Quite a powerful speaker, sir. I wonder you don't go into politics.
A powerful speaker. It's a wonder you don't go into Parliament.
Parliament.
Parliament, Uncle, don't be angry. Come and
Dine with us tomorrow.
Tomorrow. No, thank you.
Let's see you in here first. Why? Why so cold-hearted, Uncle? Why? Why did you get married?
Marry against my wishes.
Because I fell in love.
Because I fell in love.
Fell in love.
Fell in love?
Because you fell in love. Fell in love.
In love.
Love. With a woman as penniless as yourself.
She's a poor girl, Winston.
So good evening. Good evening. Good evening. I want nothing from you.
Nothing from you.
Nothing from you. It's nothing of you. Why can't we be friends?
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
I'm sorry with all my heart to find you so resolute. But I've made the trial in homage to Christmas, and therefore, Merry Christmas, Uncle!
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon! Good afternoon!
And a Happy New Year. Good afternoon.
3,500. Excellent. Only thing to be said for the season. People feel obligated to pay their debts. Oh, wouldn't old Jacob Marley have been proud? Well, idling up and love it.
This lunatic, the clerk, in letting Scrooge's nephew out, had let 2 other people in. They were portly gentlemen, pleasant to behold, and now stood with their hats off in Scrooge's office. They had books and papers in their hands and bowed.
Good evening, sir. Do we have the pleasure of addressing Mr. Scrooge or Mr. Marley?
Marley's been dead these 7 years. Died 7 years ago, this very night.
We have no doubt his liberality is well represented by his surviving partner.
At this festive season of the year, Mr. Scrooge...
Tis more than usually desirable. We should make some slight provisions for the poor and destitute. Hundreds of thousands are in want of common comfort, sir.
Are there no prisoners?
Oh, plenty of those, sir.
And the union workhouses, are they still in operation? They are. I wish I could say they were not.
Born on the treadmill are in full vigor then, eh?
Oh, very busy, sir.
I was afraid, from what you said at first, that something had occurred to stop them in their useful course.
I'm very glad to hear it.
Under the impression these places can scarcely furnish Christmas cheer for the mind and body of the multitude, a few of us have endeavored to form a fund for the poor, to buy them food and drink and means of warmth. What can I put you down for, sir?
Nothing.
You wish to be anonymous?
I wish to be left alone, sir. Since you ask me what is my wish, that is my answer. I don't make merry myself at Christmas. I can't afford to make a lot of idle people merry. I help to support the institutions we've just mentioned. They cost enough. People are badly off, they'd better go there.
Many can't go there, and some would rather die.
If they would rather die, they'd better do it. Decrease the surplus population.
It is enough for a man to understand his own business without interfering with other people's. Mine occupies me constantly.
Foggier yet and colder, piercing, searching, biting cold. The owner of one scant young nose, gnawed and mumbled by the hungry cold, as bones are gnawed by dogs, stooped down at Scrooge's keyhole to regale him with the Christmas carol. But at the first sound of...
Going on the bound, deep and crisp and even, brightly shone the moon at night, though...
What do you want?
Penny for the song, Governor?
At length, the hour of shutting up the counting house arrived. With an ill will, Scrooge tacitly admitted the fact to the expectant clerk in the tank, who instantly snuffed his candle out and put on his hat.
I suppose you'll want all day off tomorrow, eh?
It's not convenient and it's not fair. If I was to stop half a crown point, you'd consider yourself ill-used, I'll be bound.
But you don't think me ill-used if I pay a day's wages for no work, do you?
A fine excuse for picking a man's pocket every 25th of December.
However, I suppose you'll have to have the whole day. Be here all the earlier next morning.
Oh, I will, sir. I will, sir, indeed. Good night, sir, and Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, sir. You a clerk on 15 shillings a week with a wife and a family, talking about a Merry Christmas. I'll retire to Bedlam.
It is a fact that there was nothing at all particular about the knocker on the door, except that it was very large. It is also a fact that Scrooge had seen it night and morning during his whole residence in that place. And yet Scrooge, having his key in the lock of the door, saw in the knocker, without its undergoing any intermediate process of change, not a knocker, but Marley's face!
Scrooge was not startled would be untrue. Still, the moment had passed, and the world was as it should be. Nothing. Oh.
I'm back.
Merry Christmas, Governor. Merry Christmas.
Max Lamabili. Who are you?
Ask me who I was.
All right, who were you then?
In life, I was your partner, Jacob Marley.
But you're... dead.
7 years.
What you want with me?
What do you want? Much.
Can you sit down? Of course I can sit down.
Do so, then.
You don't believe in me. I don't. Why do you doubt your senses?
Because a little thing affects them. A slight disorder of the stomach makes them cheat.
Quite out of order. You
might be an undigested bit of beef. A piece of cheese.
There's more.
A fragment of underdone potato. There's more of gravy than of grave in you.
Do you believe in me or not? Yes, I do, I must. But why do you walk the earth? And why do you trouble me?
It is required of every man
that the spirit within him should walk abroad among his fellow men and travel far and wide.
If it goes not forth in life, it is condemned to do so after death.
Now, if you don't change your ways, you're gonna wind up doomed.
Wander through the world.
Is what it cannot share, but might have shared, and turned to happiness. But why do you wear that ponderous chain?
Why do you hate that?
Tell me why.
I wear the chain I forged in life.
I made it link by link and yard by yard.
You do not know the way to the length
The strong chain you bear yourself, it was full as heavy and as long as this 7 Christmas Eves ago.
And you have labored on it since.
Yours is a ponderous chain. Jacob Marley, speak comfort to me, Jacob. I have none to give. Oh, captive bound and double ironed, not to know that no space of regret can make amends for one life's opportunity misused. Yet such was I. But it was only that you were a good man of business, Jacob. Mankind should have been my business. The common welfare was my business.
Charity, mercy, forbearance, and benevolence, all these were my business.
Don't wait. Get yourself involved. The dealings of my trade were but a drop of water in the comprehensive ocean of my
business. Hear me. My time is nearly gone. I come tonight to warn you that you have yet a chance and hope of escaping my fate. A chance and hope of my procuring Ebenezer.
Thank you, Jacob. You were always a good friend of mine.
You will be
haunted by 3 spirits. Oh, but 3 ghosts. Not the chance I'd hoped.
It was.
In that case, I think I'd rather not. God, tomorrow's bad for me, Lou. Matter of fact, the whole rest of the week is a washout. Ouch.
Without their visits, you cannot hope to shun the path I tread. Expect the first when the bell tolls 1.
Couldn't I take him all at once and Expect the second the next night at the same hour, and the third upon the next night, when the last stroke of 12 has ceased to vibrate.
And looked at for your own sake. You remember what has passed between us.
Scrooge tried desperately to say humbug to the strange happening, but the word stuck in his throat, unuttered. For it was highly probable it was not humbug. Being very much in need of repose from the experience he had undergone, or shall I say, fatigues of the day, he went straight to bed without undressing and fell asleep in an instant.
Scrooge awoke. Past. Half past. Quarter to it. The hour itself. Nothing's happened.
He remembered on a sudden that the ghost had warned him of a visitation when the bell tolled 1.
Expect the first ghost when the bell tolls 1!
Suddenly the curtains of his bed were drawn aside. Scrooge found himself face to face with the unearthly visitor who drew them. As close to it as I am now to you. And I am standing in the spirit at your elbow. It was a strange figure, like a child. Yet not so like a child as like an old man.
Diminished to a child's proportions. Its hair, which hung about its neck and down its back, was white as if with age, and yet the face had not a wrinkle in it, and the tenderest bloom was on the skin.
I'm the ghost of Christmas past.
The arms were very muscular, as if its grip were of uncommon strength.
I'm the ghost.
But the strangest thing about it was that from the crown of its head, this from a sight, clear jet of light, by which all was visible, and it was doubtless the occasion of its using one great extinguisher for a cap, which it now held under its arm.
Are you the spirit whose
coming was foretold to me? I am. Who are you? What are you? I am the spirit of Christmas past.
Wrong past?
No, your past.
Spirit, put on your cap. Be covered.
What? Would you so soon put out the light I give? Is it not enough that you are one of those whose passions made this cap and forced me to wear it low upon my brow?
No intention of offending you, sir.
Scrooge reverently disclaimed all intention to offend, or any knowledge of having willfully bonneted the spirit at any point of his life. He then made bold to inquire what business brought him there.
Thank you. What's your business brings you here?
Your welfare.
Well, I'm much obliged with a good night of unbroken rest. Is what I need if you're so concerned.
Your reclamation, then. Come with me.
Some other time, perhaps. I'm not dressed. I have a weak chest. Monstrous head cold.
Oh, watching
So gentle as a woman's hand was not to resist it. He rose, but finding that the spirit made toward the window, clasped its robe in supplication.
Wait!
I'll fall!
Bear but the touch of my hand on your heart, and you shall be safe.
As the words were spoken, they passed through the wall and now stood upon an open country road with fields on either hand. The city had entirely vanished. Not a vestige of it was to be seen. It was a clear, cold winter day.
You recognize this countryside?
Good heavens.
I was bred here as a boy, this place.
The spirit gazed upon him mildly.
Joe!
Its gentle
Tommy Percy! And Dick!
Instantaneous.
Dick Wilkins!
Present to the old man's sense of feeling.
Your lip is trembling.
He was conscious of 1,000 odors floating in the air, each one connected with 1,000 thoughts and hopes and joys and cares long, long forgotten.
And what is that on your cheek?
It's nothing. Nothing. The cold. Nothing.
Let's continue. You remember this way?
Remember it. I could walk it blindfold.
Strange to have forgotten it for so many years.
They're only shadows of things that have been.
I could never join in those Christmas parties.
They can't see us or hear us. They're going home.
It's not quite
There's a boy.
Solitary boy yourself, Ebenezer, forgotten by his friends, is left
The boy is deserted by his friends and his family.
I know.
Niagara Falls, Frankie Angel.
Come, Ebenezer Scrooge. Let us see another Christmas.
A moment later, Scrooge found himself standing on a city street, looking at a building he had not seen in years.
They were now in the busy thoroughfares of a city. It was made plain enough by the dressing of the shops that here too it was Christmas time again.
Tell me, Ebenezer Scrooge, do you know this place?
Know it? My first job was here. This is Fuzzy-Wig's old rubber chicken factory.
Fizzy!
It's old Fezziwig! Bless his heart. It's old Fezziwig!
It's Fezziwig alive again!
Yo-ho, Ebenezer! Yo-ho, Dick! Hi-ho, and shut up! No more there, boys. Hi, it's Christmas Eve, Dick. It's Christmas, Ebenezer. Now come on, clear everything away before a man can say Jack Robs.
Clear away! There was nothing they wouldn't have cleared away or couldn't have cleared away with no Fezziwig looking on. It was done in a minute. The floor was watered, fuel was heaped upon the fire, and the warehouse was snug and warm and bright a ballroom as you would desire to see upon a winter's night.
And now, time fiddler, if you please. It is time for Sir Roger de Coverley! Hey!
Bells!
Mr. Scrooge! Excuse me? Well, I'd like to introduce you to Ebenezer Scrooge. Ebenezer, this is Belle, a friend of the Fozzie family.
Pleased to meet you.
Would you like to dance? Did you see? She chose me. Beautiful little Belle. She chose me.
make these silly folks so happy.
Small?
And yet, what does this party cost him in your mortal money? 3 or 4 pounds at most. Is that so much that he deserves your praise?
You don't understand, Spirit.
The happiness he gave to us, his clerks and apprentices, and everybody who knew him, was as great as if it had cost a fortune.
What's the matter?
Nothing.
Something, I think.
No. Just that I'd like to have a word with my own clerk, Bob Cratchit, just now. That's all.
My time grows short. Come.
Maybe we should separate for a while.
It matters little. To you, very little. Another idol has displaced me.
And if it can cheer and comfort you in times to come, as I would have tried to do, then I have no just cause to grieve.
What idol has displaced you?
A golden one.
This is the even-handed dealing of the world.
There is nothing on which it is so hard as poverty, and yet there is nothing it condemns with such severity as the pursuit of wealth.
You fear the world too much.
All your hopes have merged into the one hope of being beyond the chance of its sordid reproach.
All your nobler dreams that I loved I've seen die off, one by one.
Until the master passion.
Gain and engrossed you.
Have I not?
What then?
Perhaps I've become wiser. But I'm not changed towards you.
Am I?
Our contacts are old ones, made when we were poor and content to be so.
Was made when we were poor and content to be so until we improved our fortunes.
By our patient industry.
You are changed. When we promised each other, you were another man.
I was a boy.
You see, your own feelings tell you that you are not what you were.
I am. That which promised happiness when we were one in heart is fraught with misery now that we are two.
How often and how keenly I've thought of this, I will not say. But I have thought of it, and can release you from your promise.
Have I ever sought release?
In words, no, never.
In what then?
But in a changed nature.
In an altered spirit.
In another atmosphere of life, another hope at its great end.
In everything that made my love of value to you, yes.
If this had never been between us, tell me.
Would you seek me out and try to win me now?
You think not?
I would gladly think otherwise if I could. Heaven knows when I have learned a truth like this, I know how strong and irresistible it must be. But if you were free today, tomorrow, yesterday, can even I believe that you would choose a dowerless girl who in your very
Weigh everything by gain?
Or, in choosing her, if for a moment you were false enough to your one guiding principle to do so, do I not know that your
Repentance and regret
would surely follow? I do.
And so I release you with a full heart for the love of the man you once were.
You may. The memory of what passed half makes me hope you will.
Have pain in this.
A very, very brief pain.
And you will dismiss the recollection of it gladly as an unprofitable dream, from which it happened well that you awoke.
May you be happy in the life you've chosen.
Well, I am happy with the path that I've chosen, you little bitch.
No, Spirit, show me no more. Leave me. No longer.
Spirit, show me no more. Why do you delight in torturing me?
I told you, these were the shadows of the things that have been. That they are what they are. Do not blame me.
Leave me.
Scrooge was left alone and exhausted in his bedchamber. And thus he remained until the nearby clock began to strike the hour. Oh, what was that? 2 o'clock.
1 o'clock.
Well, 1 o'clock? Oh,
The first 1, the second, 2.
12 o'clock, I know it is.
The clock strikes 2. The ghost of Christmas present.
Awakening in the middle of a prodigiously tough snore and sitting up in bed to get his thoughts together, Scrooge had no occasion to be told that the bell was again upon the stroke of 1.
On the stroke of 1, Scrooge awakened suddenly and sat in bolt upright in his own bed. He remembered the words of Marley's ghost.
What? Where am I?
And wondered from which direction the second specter would appear. At that moment, nothing between a baby and a rhinoceros would have astonished him very much. Now being prepared for almost anything, he was not by any means prepared for nothing.
I'm ready for you, whenever you're at!
And consequently, when no shape appeared, he was taken with a violent fit of trembling. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, quarter of an hour went by, yet nothing came. Then, as he sat in his bed, he became aware, gradually, of a great blaze of ruddy light. It seemed to shine upon him from the adjoining room. He got up softly and shuffled in his slippers to the door. It was his own sitting room, there was no doubt about that.
Come in, don't be better.
But it had undergone a surprising transformation.
Come here, Scrooge. I'm waiting for you. Or shall I come in there and get you?
Come in.
Come over here, you weird little man.
Come in and know me better, man.
I am the ghost of Christmas present. Look upon me.
You have never seen the like of me before.
I know you are, Spirit. I'm afraid not. No.
Never.
Never. And have you never known my elder brothers, born these years before me?
Have you had
Many brothers. A huge number.
More than 1,800. 1,842, to be exact.
I have 1,859 brothers.
You're a little absent-minded, Spirit.
No, I'm a large, absent-minded spirit.
a tremendous family to provide for? Spirit, conduct me where you will. Already I have been brought under compulsion and learned the lesson which is working now. If you have aught to teach me, let me profit by it.
Touch my robe. Touch my robe.
Touch my robe.
Touch my robe, Ebenezer Scrooge. Touch my robe.
Come. Touch my robe.
Touch my robe.
Take me where you wish. I'd like to get this over and done with. Touch my robe.
Lay hold of my robe, Ebenezer Scrooge.
Come, touch my robe.
Touch my robe. Why? Because I like
Perhaps it was the spirits
God's own generous nature and his sympathy for all poor men that led them straight to the home of Scrooge's faithful clerk.
Who are these people? Who's that woman? And the children? These are the family of your clerk, Bob Cratchit. See his wife dressed in a twice-turned gown, but brave in ribbons.
Goose! They're cooking goose down there!
We've been outside the baker's, and we smell a lovely goose cooking. Yes, the fish sure is balanced. Yes, it's lovely goose.
Listen to your father and Tim. And Martha wasn't late last Christmas by half an hour. Here's Martha, Mother.
Here's Mother, here's Martha.
There's a goose for Christmas, Martha.
Martha's here, hooray! See the goose, Martha. It's such a goose, Martha. You'll not believe it.
Oh, bless your heart, my dear. Martha,
Bless your heart, I was afraid you weren't coming.
Bless my heart alive, my dear, you're late. Had a great deal of work to finish off.
And had to clear away this morning. Never mind, as long as you are. Come and sit before the fire, my dear, and get it warm.
Oh, you're cold, child. Sit down by the fire and have a warm.
Here comes Bob now with another member of his family, Tiny Tim.
No. Father's here, Martha.
Tis the season to be jolly and joyous. Fa la la, with a burst of pleasure we begin to ride. Fa la la, it's a season when the saints can employ us. Fa la la, to spread the news about peace and to keep them alive.
We're home, Mother! Merry Christmas. Why, where's our Martha?
Oh, she's not coming.
Not coming upon Christmas Day. Not coming on Christmas Day.
Yes, I am.
Oh, Peter, the Christmas dinner. The goose. The goose.
Oh, now, son. Now you've gotten too excited. You go sit in your chair a moment. You rest a moment. How was the church?
Oh, as good as gold and better.
He told me he wasn't going to feel shy if people looked at him because he was a cripple, as it might be pleasant to them, being in church, to remember upon Christmas Day who made lame beggars walk and blind men see. He's very strong and hearty, though, Martha, my dear. Isn't he, my love?
Look.
A Merry Christmas to us all. The dear God bless us. A Merry Christmas to us all.
Merry Christmas!
God bless us.
God bless us, everyone.
God bless us, everyone.
God bless us, everyone. God bless us, everyone.
God bless us, everyone.
And God bless us,
God bless us, everyone.
everyone. God bless us, everyone.
God bless us, everyone.
Tell me, Spirit, will he live?
I see a vacant seat in the chimney corner and a crutch tenderly preserved. If these shadows remain unaltered by the future, the child will die.
Oh, no. No. Kind Spirit, say that he will be spared.
Why? If he be like to die, he'd better do it and decrease the surplus population.
Let him die and decrease the surplus population.
My own words.
So perhaps in the future you will hold your tongue until you have discovered what the surplus population is and where it is.
Will you decide what men shall live, when men shall die?
It may well be that in the sight of heaven you are more worthless and less fit to live than millions like this
poor man's child.
I give you Mr. Scrooge, the founder of this feast.
The founder of this feast, indeed. If he was here, I'd give him a piece of my mind to feast upon.
Dear children, it's Christmas Day.
Well, I suppose that on the blessed day of Christmas, one must drink to the health of Mr. Scrooge, even though he is odious, stingy, wicked, and unfeeling, and badly dressed.
To the founder of the feast, Mr. Scrooge.
To Mr. Scrooge, he'll be very merry and happy this day, I have no doubt. No doubt.
Cheers.
God bless us, everyone.
I'll drink to his health for your sake and the day's, not for his.
Life is full of sweet surprises. Every day's a gift.
Look after him. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
There was nothing of high mark in all this. They were not a handsome family, these Cratchits. They were not well dressed. Their shoes were far from being waterproof. Their clothes were scanty and had known, very likely, the insides of a pawnbroker's. But they were happy, grateful, pleased with one another and contented with the time. And when at last they faded, Scrooge had his eye upon them.
Cratchit family vanished into the darkness. Scrooge kept his eyes upon Tiny Tim until the last.
Especially on Tiny Tim until the last.
It was a great surprise to Scrooge as the scene vanished to hear a hearty laugh. It was a much greater surprise to Scrooge to recognize it as his own nephew.
Hey, look, that's you! He's just sitting for that, isn't it?
He said Christmas in a hot box. He believed it, too. Oh, he's a comical old fellow, that's the truth.
But not so pleasant as he might be.
His offences carry their own punishment.
Dear brother-in-law, it's said he's very rich.
Yes, well, that is very true. But his wealth is of no use to him. He doesn't do any good with it. He doesn't even make himself comfortable with it.
I have no patience with him.
Well, I have, and I feel sorry for him. Who suffers from his ill whims? Himself. Always. Here, he takes it in his heart to dislike us and not come and dine with us.
And he loses a very good dinner indeed.
He's certainly given us plenty of merriment, that's for sure, and I think it would be ungrateful not to drink to his health.
Well, a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to the poor old man. You wouldn't let me wish it to him personally, but here it is nevertheless.
To my Uncle Scrooge.
Here's to Uncle Scrooge.
Here's to his health, even though he puts wealth over Christmas together.
Many calls Scrooge made that night on the ghost of Christmas present. It was a long night. Yet it was only a night. And it was strange, too, that while Scrooge remained unaltered in his outward form, the ghost grew older. Clearly older.
My life on the globe is very brief. It ends tonight.
Tonight?
The
time is drawing near for me to go and for your third visitor to appear.
Come, my time grows short. Spirit, do you grow old? I do! Our spirit's life so short. My time upon this globe is very brief. I believe it will end
tonight at midnight. Hark. The time is drawing near.
Nothing Scrooge could do or say could stop the relentless march of those terrible bells.
Oh, Spirit.
Forgive me, but I see something strange and not belonging to you there, beneath your robe. Is it a foot or a claw?
It might be a claw. The counter amount of flesh there is upon it.
Look! Down here! Spirit, are they yours? Are these yours? Look upon these!
Spirit, are they yours? They are man's. This boy is ignorance. This girl is want.
Beware of them.
But most of all, beware the boy.
For on his forehead I see that written which is doom, unless the writing is erased. If you deny him, slander those who tell others about him, admit he exists but do nothing about it, then doom will engulf you all.
Are there no shelters? No charities to help them?
Are there no prisons? Are there no prisons?
Are there no workhouses?
Are there no prisons? Are there no workhouses? Are there no
He'd heard the clock strike. And then he remembered the prediction of old Jacob Marley, and lifting up his eyes beheld the third spirit. A solemn phantom.
Spirit of the future, I fear you more than any other spectre I've seen.
I fear you more than any spectre I have seen. I am prepared to bear your company.
Ghost of the future, I fear you more than any spectre I have seen. But I know your purpose is to do me good. I am prepared to bear you company. Lead on. The night is waning fast. It's precious time to me. Lead on, spirit.
No, I don't know much about it either way. I only know he's dead.
When did he die?
Last night, I believe.
What was the matter with him?
Who knows? Who cares?
What has he done with his money?
I haven't heard. Hasn't left it to me, that's all I know. It's likely to be a very cheap funeral. Upon my life, I can't think of anybody to go to it. Suppose we form a party and volunteer.
I wouldn't mind going. If lunch is provided.
Speaking of lunch... I know some of those gentlemen, Spirit. Of what poor wretch do they speak?
How was I privy to that conversation? What purpose could it have for me? Merciful heavens, what is this? Spirit, this is a fearful place. I wish to leave it. This you cannot bring me to. I say I understand you. That is sufficient for the moment. Furthermore, there must be someone in this city who feels some emotion because of this man's death. I demand to see that person.
Don't stand there staring as if you were afraid, woman. Who's the worse for the loss of a few things like this? Not a dead man, I hope.
Open this bundle, old Joe, and let me know the value of it. I ain't afraid to be the first, nor afraid for them to see it.
Open that bundle, old Joe.
What have we got there, buddy? Oh, these blankets, bed curtains.
Bed curtains. Ah, bed curtains.
Bed curtains. Don't mean to say you took 'em down and rings the door with him lying there?
He's lying there.
Oh, I do.
Now, what not?
Why not?
Why not?
Why not?
If he wanted to keep him after he was dead, why wasn't he natural in his lifetime?
It's a judgment on him. Good. I see. Yes, I do see.
I understand, Spirit. The case of this unhappy man might be my own. My life tends that way now. Merciful heavens. Let me see some tenderness connected with this world, or I'll be haunted.
Show me some tenderness connected with the death.
Let me see some tenderness connected to death, or this chamber will forever haunt me!
Late. Lost your father's time. He's walked slow these last few evenings. But he has walked with Tiny Tim on his shoulders fast. Indeed. He was very light to carry. Your father loved him so.
could have gone. It would have done you good to see how green a place it is. You'll see it often. I promised him that I would walk there every Sunday. Oh, my little child. My little child. I'm all right. I'm quite at peace. I'm sure we'll never forget our poor Tiny Tim. Thank you, my dear.
Inspector, something tells me our parting moment is at hand. Tell me, who was that man?
Now, Spirit, tell me what man that was whom we saw lying dead.
Now, Spirit, before I draw nearer to that stone, answer me this. Are the things you have shown me shadows of things that will be? Are these the shadows of the things that must be? Shadows of the things that will be? Or are they shadows of things that may be only? Or are they only shadows of things that might be? Men's lives lead to certain ends, but if those lives be changed, will not the ends be changed? Tell me that is true.
This is our
Tell
departed
me.
from these ends will change, isn't that so?
I've not been the man I must have been before this intercourse. Why show me this if it is all too late? Why show me this? Why show me all this if I have lost all hope? What the hell is this that you're saying? What, that I've died? I can keep Christmas if that is all that is required. I will honor Christmas in my heart and try to keep it all the year. I will live in the past, the present, and the future. I shall change my way of living. I shall change my way of living. I'm not that I was. I will try to keep Christmas all the year. Why show me this? It's all too late. Pity me. I will honor Christmas in my heart and try to keep it all the year. I will live in the past, the present, and the future. The spirit of all three shall strive in me. I will know Christmas in my heart.
I'm trying to keep it
try
all
to keep
here.
it all the year.
I will not shut out unless it's over.
The spirit of all three shall strive in me. I will not shut out the lesson that
I will
was
sponge away the writing
Oh,
on
let
that
me wipe away the
stone.
writing on this stone. I want to live. I want to live. I want to live.
I'm alive! Holy shit, what a freak!
I will live in the past, the present, and the future. Oh, Jacob Marley, heaven and Christmas time be praised for this. I thank you. And I thank the world. I need to be grateful. I was able to begin
What's today?
What's today?
Eh? Eh?
What's today, my fine fellow?
Today? Today? Today?
Today!
Today? Why, it's Christmas Day, of course.
Merry Christmas! It is Christmas Day, isn't it?
Today? Why, of course.
Ah, I knew I had missed it. Oh, the spirits have done it all in one night.
And I haven't missed it. The spirits have done it all in one night.
Do you know the butcher's in the next street but one?
On the corner?
The corner of the street next but one?
I can have my dad.
An intelligent boy.
Delightful boy.
What an intelligent boy.
Remarkable boy. Tell me, they sold the prize turkey that was hanging there, not the little turkey, the big one?
One as big as me.
Delightful boy. Pleasure talking. Yes. What a delightful child. The one as big as you.
It's hanging there still.
Is it? Very well then, go and buy it.
Walker!
No, wait a minute. I'm in earnest. Tell the butcher to bring it here and I'll give him the name of the party he's to send it to. Come back with the butcher and I'll give you a shilling.
Come back in less than 5 minutes, I'll give you half a crown.
Oh, half a crown?
Oh, a fine boy, a clever boy. I'll send it to Bob Cratchit's. He shan't know who sent it. It's twice the size of Tiny Tim.
If this be a prank, boy, I'll box your ears.
He was in that window. I swear it.
There you are.
This boy here says you wish to purchase this turkey here.
Yes, quite right. Here's your half crown for a service well rendered.
Thank you, sir.
Splendid boy.
Merry Christmas.
My dear sirs, how do you do?
How do you do?
Mr. Scrooge.
Do I know you?
We were in your office last evening.
Well, bless me. Good morning, gentlemen. I've something for you.
That much?
Not a penny less. A great many back payments are included in it, I assure you.
Oh, my goodness. I don't know what to say.
God bless you this Christmas Day, Mr. Scrooge. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That's the nicest thing that anyone's ever done for me.
Is your master at home, my dear?
Yes, sir.
May I come in?
When green buds they were swelling, young Charlie Grove on his deathbed lay, for love of Barbara Allen.
Fred! Fred, it's I.
Eve, come to dinner. If you'll have me.
Young man, I think. Oh.
Uncle Evan.
Of course, Uncle. Welcome. Merry Christmas. This is what Uncle Evan needs us.
next year we must have this dinner at my house.
And Scrooge was better than his word. He did all that he said he would, and more. To our Tiny Tim, who got well.
Who did not die.
Oh, isn't that swell?
To Tiny Tim, Scrooge became a second father. He became as good a friend, as good a master, and as good a man as the good old city ever had. And it was always said of him that he knew how to keep Christmas well, if any man alive possessed the knowledge. May that truly be said of us, and all of us.
And so, as Tiny Tim's event,
God bless us, everyone.